Hello and welcome to the BPCA PestExtra 2021, coming to you from the Innovation Theatre. This is the first time we've ever done a virtual event, and it's the first time the BPCA have put one on, so we're honoured to be opening the show, and just want to say a massive thank you to the BPCA and Lauren Day for putting all this together and inviting us to speak today. My name is Mike Palmer Day and I'm from Service Tracker. We build software solutions for the pest control industry to give you competitive clout. And that's the theme of this presentation, competitive clout. I'm going to explore exactly what that means, how successful pest control companies use software to run their businesses, how you could look at the opposite to that and what it means to not have software in your business, and maybe the time that it's taken to do some of the simple tasks like provide good customer service, or perhaps put together fly killer analysis charts. I've been in the industry 12 years and myself I've been working day and night sometimes to please the most demanding of customers, maybe putting together analysis or maybe customer logbooks, and it was at that time where I thought maybe there's a better way of doing things. So we looked at various angles, various ways to do things, and then myself and Nigel Sargent, who's the co-founder of Service Tracker, we put together a lovely software solution which has just evolved over the last 6-7 years into what it is today. So enough about me. I'm going to jump straight into some of the slides, put a little agenda up as well so you can see exactly what to expect from this session, and then we'll kick things off by looking at what is competitive clout. So here's the lineup. I'm going to talk to you first about what is competitive clout, what that means to us. Then moving on to how successful businesses do things in this day and age. The paper-based approach of how some people use paper and card systems perhaps, or maybe even smaller systems that aren't doing exactly what you need them to do. I'm going to talk about what to expect from software in this kind of new age of technology and all things connected. And then, because we're in the middle of a pandemic, and that's the reason why we're here at this virtual event, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about COVID-19, the effect on the industry and how software can help. Right at the very end, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our software, and you can just see how we do things. So let's move on. So first off, what is competitive clout? And this could mean a lot of things to different people. For us, we've limited it down to these key topics really. So it's the ability to frame your business to compete with industry leaders. And as I mentioned before, there's some very successful companies that use software to deliver their service and manage all of their business. And it's being able to kind of put yourself into their position and saying, right, I'm able to do this too. Maybe at the fraction of the price, but I have the same software and I can do this. It's about demonstrating the best possible service to your customers, and whether that's information at your fingertips or allowing your customers to get their information themselves, maybe through a customer portal, or just being able to pick up the phone and know exactly what that customer is doing and when was the last time they were serviced, for example. It's then about sticking out in the industry as a leader. So you're not just competing anymore, you're actually leading the way, whether it's because you have developed your USP, for example, your customer portal, or maybe that you use some remote monitoring technologies that nobody else does. All of these things give you that innovation that you need to become a competitor within the industry. And it's about doing everything your competitors do and more. And should I say better? So that's what competitive clout means to us. So I mentioned before, we started Service Tracker working late nights trying to put together analysis for our customers, whether it's because they needed it for their audits or just because they were following regulations. And we're constantly finding that we're squeezed by regulations, lots of increasing costs and of course technicians' time, doing things like putting together analysis charts or making sure that you've allocated the correct prep and waste, whether it's toxic, non-toxic, looking at trend charts, And all of this adds to our time. So we like to say that the inspiration for our business was counting dead flies, which it was. But more to the point, it was following regulations. And the most successful pest control businesses, they do this with ease. So when a technician is on site and they're filling in their service report and they're putting down the preparation that they used and they're counting maybe the flies that they've picked up, or maybe the amount of bait taken, all of that is logged electronically and it's fed straight back into a system, which can then generate in real time things like your charts or things like your reports or your logbooks. And it's immediately available to your customers then on a customer portal. So squeezed by regulations for us means that yes, we have to innovate. We have to develop more into our system, and we have to keep you guys safe as well so that you follow in all of the latest rules and regulations such as COVID-19. And I mentioned about the demanding clients that some people have. They want their information in real time. They need trend analysis. They need to know what happened 2 years ago on this particular item within warehouse A. And if they don't get that information, you find that they move on. They move on to one of your competitors that can provide that information. And most of the customer portals that we've seen, they're kind of static. They don't really do much for the customer. And if they did want to change anything, it would take them absolutely ages and lots of technology to do so. So to be successful, what is required is a dynamic kind of approach so that your customers can get the information that they want. They can customize their own reports. They can customize their own dashboards and customer portals, just meeting all of their expectations, and you're not leaving any stone unturned. So if an auditor does appear on site, they've got all the information straight away, right at their fingertips, and they can basically make decisions on the information that you provide. Again, successful companies are already doing this. They already understand their clients' needs, and they've put together nice little logbooks or maybe electronic reports, and again, customer portals to manage their customers. So what we found when we were building Service Tracker is that most pest companies were buried under administration. And whether that was just managing the field team, getting their service reports back to the office, or it was handling customer inquiries. So a customer calls up and says what happened on the last visit, and you find yourself trawling through filing cabinets and paperwork. And then you find that the actual report isn't with you yet. It's still in the back of a van somewhere. And all of this increases your back office costs, and it does restrict your growth because you can only grow as much as you can handle in terms of paperwork. What we found again with some of the most successful pest control companies is that they're already taking care of this using electronic reporting or automatic reporting, email alerts that get sent out to your customers when there's an action. So they find less and less the customers are calling the office to try and find out information because they've already got it. They can already jump into a customer portal and find out the information. It's right there at their fingertips. It saves money. It increases the ability for your back office staff to do other things, like maybe marketing, or perhaps looking at different types of reports and looking at some of the bigger customers that you have and making sure they're taken care of. So what we're trying to say here is that basically there's no need to be buried under admin anymore. It's just a waste of your time. So all of this adds up to extra costs, whether it's the cost of running everything in paper, or it's the cost of having your technicians driving here, there and everywhere because they haven't got a proper route planner. Or it could be that you've just missed out on a routine you didn't know, or your status service reporting didn't add up, and then you have to go back there. And your clients don't want to pick up the extra costs for this, which means that you have to take it on. So by managing everything via paper and card systems, or perhaps spreadsheets, and not knowing exactly what's going out in the field, it basically has a massive effect on you. you've got lower profits, higher costs. And we're looking to switch that along with these successful companies that have already looked at these systems and they've already implemented them. So we want to show that there's lower cost in managing a pest control business because everything is taken care of. The back office is already there from everything the technician is doing on site. You know exactly where everybody is. You can plan somebody's day out to perfection, exactly where they're going to go, how long it's going to take them, the travel time, the journey time. Obviously, giving most of the leeway to your technicians who know exactly how long a job's going to take and how long it's going to take them to get there. But it keeps you on those paid jobs. There's no downtime, if you like, for coming back to the office. Or maybe not knowing exactly what you need to do when you're on a site or what happened last time you were on a site. And what that means for you is higher profits, and that definitely means that for your competitors. So with software, you're able to grow your money-making workforce. You don't have to grow the back office staff. So it used to be however many technicians you had, you used to have an ample amount of administration team members in the back looking after everybody, planning out their routes, taking their paperwork, manually keying it into systems. There's no need for that when it comes to software because the software will grow as you grow. Your back office are still doing the things that they do now, but they're managing it all electronically. So using reports, using search engines which can deliver them the right information at the right time. And all of that just allows you to grow and again compete within the industry at a fraction of the cost it would if you weren't using software. We talk about compliance a lot when it comes to software. But of course, there's the compliance that you need to know if you're dealing with any data, whether it's paper, spreadsheets, card systems, whatever the case may be. You need to understand that the compliance of handling that data is very, very important. And also the compliance of maybe the health and safety legislation that you have to adhere to. Maybe it's the compliance for the site. So when you arrive on a particular site, you have to adhere to their policies. Sometimes you may not know these unless they're written down on a card or you've been there many, many times. So the idea of software is that, again, that information is kept for you. So when your technicians are out in the field, they know exactly what to expect. They can read up beforehand what they need to adhere to. You know that your information is going to be safe and secure because it's not floating about in the back of somebody's van, perhaps. So compliance means much, much more than just data. And if you're always focused on the compliance aspect, have your technicians done something right? Have they put down the right prep and waste? Have they recorded the right preparations that they used? Are we allowed to put down certain preparations on site? Did they follow the health and safety objective of that particular site? Did I give my customer the right report? Then as long as you're focusing on that, you're not really focusing on everything else in your business. And you're certainly not growing that business. So by putting all that information into software and then perhaps into a mobile device, you're giving your technicians the best opportunity to do things the right way and be compliant. And that's the aim of software, is to help you stay compliant. So let's look at everything we've seen so far. We know that successful companies use software to really enhance their business, to make sure that they're kept on the paid jobs, to make sure they're delivering the best customer experience possible, to make sure that they're following compliance and regulations. But what does that mean to you? Well, we designed Service Tracker purely because we were fed up with counting dead flies and putting together analysis. But then looking at that further, we wanted to give the same experience to our customers that some of the big players in the industry give their customers. And give the exact same tools like customer portals, electronic reports, fly killer analysis, preparation analysis. We wanted to provide all of that in a single solution. And the software that's available out there at the moment is more than capable of delivering the same service as some of the big competitors. So you can start to bid against these people. And if you're thinking you just don't have the coverage, then there are software systems that talk to each other. So if you use a subcontractor, for example, the information they put into their system can be directly transferred into your system, giving you that look and feel of a larger national company. And it's all about what the customer sees. So they can log into a customer portal, they can see work that you've done, that your subcontractors have done, and it's the same information provided to them in the same place. So what we offer, and many companies do, is the big name service experience. So now let's look at the flip side of what software does for you and how successful companies run their business using software. I'm just going to look at a typical example of the paper-based approach. So when we talk about service planning without software, without systems, you're basically trawling through paperwork. You're trying to find out exactly where the technicians are supposed to be going. Any new business, you've got a plan around them, or you just give it all to your service technicians and hope for the best. And when it comes to the end of the month and you want to look at your status service, then it's up to you to try and find that information and get the information out of your technicians. So service planning, it does take a long time without software. When it comes to the actual reporting itself, we've seen that, handwritten reports, sometimes they're illegible. You can't understand them. The customer can't read them. The customer sometimes doesn't even get the report because it's been lost or it's been filed away somewhere. So the service reports that you're looking at in a paper-based system, very laborious, very time consuming. You have to fill in each one, like the date, the address, the time, all of this information which is standard and already catered for in software. When we talk about logbooks, it takes somebody like myself a hell of a lot of time at the end of the year to put together a brand new logbook, make sure the existing logbook is full and concise. Looking at logbooks, you're trying to trawl through information from the past to try and find, is there any pattern? What happened on the last service visit? Of course, photographs, you're not going to get those into a service report unless it comes back to the office. Again, lots and lots of time involved in putting together a logbook. Your customer service using a paper-based approach means that if a customer calls you out of the blue looking for information, you either have to put that person on hold or you've got to call them back because the information isn't right there. You have to go and find it in a filing cabinet or speak to a technician to find out. These things, as we've seen, cost money, they cost time. Obtaining information as well, such as does the site have certain criteria for, let's say, COVID-19? Do they have the most relevant up-to-date logbook? Do we know that the person on site is the same person that we've got on our records from 2 years ago? To obtain that information, we have to again go looking through filing cabinets and through paper or speaking to the site or the technician. When it comes to sales in the paper-based approach, you're relying on your surveyors and your salespeople to follow up on leads. You're relying on them perhaps to, look at a spreadsheet that may become out of date. You don't know what's in the pipeline unless you keep a record of it somewhere. And you certainly can't follow up things that maybe you're out in the field or you're in the middle of a visit and you get a call from a customer, or potential customer saying, please can I have a quote? It may get missed. And then when it comes to invoicing, you probably sat there at the end of the month looking at all the service reports and pulling together all the work and then manually keying that into a system ready for invoicing. And that's the paper-based approach. And even if you're not using paper to run your business and you have moved into some sort of software solution or maybe gone a bit way toward the electronic movement, then you've got to be asking yourself, does this piece of software I'm using work for me? Does it do everything I need it to do? So I'm going to take a look at an example of a typical software solution and what to expect from it. Starting right at the beginning, the sales process. So you need a system really to manage that entire sales process, from the initial inquiry to the survey, right down to getting a quotation out to the customer and getting that accepted quotation back. How much of that is already done in your system? How much of that is paperless? And how much is driven by paper and by communicating with your surveyors and your sales team to find out the information you need? Once the quotation's been won, that needs to be converted into a contract or a piece of work, a job, and scheduled so that your team know exactly where they're going. How much of that is now done by systems and paper and things like that. And it'd be nice to have all this as kind of a seamless link. So you have a quotation that gets accepted, it converts into a piece of work, all that done in the back office. And then once you have all that information, you're ready to send that out to the technicians in the field. So you can see exactly who's the best person for the job. You can see exactly where they are. If it's an emergency call out, for example, you can look at how it's going to affect their current workload and their day of scheduling. And you can also track exactly where that place is using GPS, and then you can route the correct technician to the job. Now, what happens when you're on site is that you need somebody to fill in a visit report. They need to inspect items like bait boxes and your EFKs, your moth pots perhaps, your crawling insects, your lures, whatever it may be. They need to get the job done. And is that done electronically? Is that done via a mobile? Is that done by your current system, whether it's paper or software? You need to be asking yourself again, can I do this better? Can I do this all electronically very, very quickly? And once your technician fills in that service report and they inspect all their items, they get their trend analysis, they upload their photos, they obtain a signature, they put together an action plan, then how does that information get back to the office? Could it be that they have to drive all the way back and deliver their paper? Could it be they have to email it and then you have to trawl through the emails? Ideally, what you want to happen is that information in real time gets sent to the customer or uploaded to a customer portal. They have everything, the trend analysis, everything that happened on site, photographs to back it up, action plans to tell you exactly what the customer needs to do. And then from there, how do you invoice? So how do you know when to invoice? So we know that a job's been done. We know it's been done successfully and delivered to the client. So why can't we invoice it straight away in real time? Why do we have to wait? So with a typical software solution, you're looking at all these elements in one place. As we say, every step in the process done. Your invoicing is taken care of. It can be automatically invoiced. All of your reporting, automatic, sent to you weekly, daily, sent to your customers. All of the analysis that used to take ages, evenings after evenings, all done because somebody filled that information in while they were on site using a mobile device. And all of this uses live data from out in the field. That's what a typical software solution for me looks like, and that's what I would expect for my business. Everything all in one place, manageable. I've talked about competitive clout and how software can help you really compete with the big names of the industry, how it can help you streamline your business, how it can help you to grow, how it can help you to stay compliant. But one of the other ways that we've seen our software being used is due to the pandemic, we've seen a lot of home working. And what we were able to do with our software is basically just say you can log in on a browser anywhere in the world on any device. So therefore, moving an entire team from an office into the home was relatively straightforward and painless. We knew that we could capture all the information about a particular site. So if they were closed due to COVID, we could immediately notify the technician out on the road. We could take that off his schedule so he didn't go there. We know exactly what the customer expects of us. So we could introduce very, very quickly lots of little checks and health and safety checks due to COVID. So in terms of the pandemic and how it's affected people, yes, it's really displaced people, and we've seen other industries suffer. But for pest control, we need to be out there. We need to be doing our job. It's essential that we do. So we need the software to help us do that as well. Paper-based systems ain't going to cut it. People don't want to handle paper anymore. People want information without having to go back to their office. So things like software, again, they can help when it comes to electronic reporting and customer portals. And we've seen that a lot during this time. People were very worried to start with, and once they realized they could just log in anywhere in the world on any device and their team could also access that information, it kind of took the burden away a little bit. And it's all really about keeping your finger on the pulse of your business wherever you are. So hopefully on a beach somewhere someday, but for the time being, I suppose, stuck at home. Now, when it comes to software, and especially competitive clout, we know there are tools out there. We know these things can help us, and they can really help us to grow our business. So the only question left really is, when do you want to start? When do you want to start making more money from your business? And you can do that very, very easily using software to grow your business and also to give you competitive clout. So now I just want to talk to you about Service Tracker and how we do things. You've seen from some of the slides that what to expect from a system, what it should do for you, and it should be all in one place, one system, every step in the process done. We do that's our bread and butter, but we also add another element to it. We're a partner of Salesforce.com, and Salesforce, they're a CRM solution, which means customer relationship management. So we base everything on customer relationship, and we track every single activity about customers, whether it's a phone call, an email, again the service, yes, the invoicing, yes, providing customer portals, but it's all about that customer relationship. The other thing we do, which is a little bit different to other people, is that we say that you cannot manage what you do not measure. And I think there's a lot of people who've said this in the past, but we have the ability to report on every single transaction. We know exactly where people are going. We know exactly what visits have been completed. We know every single thing about our customers in terms of the relationship we have with them and the interactions we have with them. We know all about the sales process and the pipeline and the forecasting that you can do, the contract management, contract expiries and renegotiations. We know about the scheduling. It's all there in the system. And there's a full suite of reports and dashboards that we use and we give to our customers as standard. But it's all about getting that information into the system first of all. So it relies on people out in the field filling in service reports, salespeople completing kind of activities and emails and logging phone calls in the system. But it really, really does help to manage your customer and give them that fantastic relationship and customer experience that they need in this day and age. So the CRM side of things, which we look at when we look at a system, it's basically a method for managing your customers. So you get that complete 360-degree view of a client. As soon as you log into Service Tracker, you can just search straight away for a customer. You can find out exactly what's on site in terms of assets, the contracts that they have, the schedules, the visits, any action plans. You've got the ability to see things like the invoicing, the quote management. You can see all of that in one place. And that's the idea. You don't want to go searching for these things. They're all there. They're all available. They're just all in one place. You can find information very quickly using Service Tracker. You can just type in a search term, for example, a university or a hospital or a college or a school or maybe one of the big food chains. And then straight away you can see the relationship it has with other customers in the system. Are you doing better? Are you doing worse? You can run reports on those different customers. You can view all touch points of any communication and the history of that. So from the very first phone call that was ever made right down to the very first survey that you sent congratulating you on the work that you've done. You can set schedules and activity reminders for things like contract follow-ups, or if you've got a piece of work that only needs to be done once a year, you can set yourself a reminder to go and do that piece of work. You can track all the productivity from the guys out in the field to the back office to the sales teams to management. You can see it all in one system, and all you have to do is set the benchmarks. Monitor it and tracking performance means you can see what somebody was supposed to have done, what they said they would do, and what they delivered. And again, it's all about managing and measuring exactly what's going on out there in the field. You can eliminate things like conflicts of interest. If one salesperson's looking after a particular customer and somebody else has a prospect or has been given a business card, they can search the system. it's a duplicate. We've already got that record in our system, so I'll pass this on to my colleague. You can see the ownership of clients and contacts. So who has the relationship with this particular site? Who does all the work? Who is the very first person you need to call if there's a problem? All of that information is contained within Service Tracker. And ultimately, it avoids any of this double keying, duplication of work, making sure that you're not entering duplicates in the system and getting confused. Making sure that any information, such as client information, contact information, contracts, they're only ever entered once. And if you're communicating with other systems or you're using other customer portals, then you know that it can just be passed because it's already in the system. It's electronic. So we base our whole model on CRM. And from there, you've seen the diagrams, you've seen all the charts and that kind of every step in the process. That's what we do. And we deliver a full solution for the pest control industry. It's written by pest control veterans for the pest control industry. So all that's left for me to say is just a massive thank you for watching, for tuning in to the Innovation Theatre and for this very first session. And thank you again to the BPCA for allowing us to present to you. Service Tracker is the website, servicetracker.uk.com, if you do want more information or if you want these slides. You can get in touch with us as well, just via phone. It's just 033 022 31022. Just give us a call if you've got any questions. So thank you very much for your time, and I'm sure I'll see you at the next event, which will hopefully be in person.